What's going on, fellas? Yo, what's going on? We're going to talk about three seam in the game, going against 3-by-1 type formations and the adjustments that the game makes automatically. So, if you want from the history of three seam, this year we know versus 2-by-2 spread formations, you're going to get match principles. Okay, we've gone through that in the first video. We know that if you go up against a 2-by-1 set, so a two-back set as I call it, you're going to get some match principles as well to the two receiver side. All right. Now, one thing I didn't talk about in the two-back set is that the weak side seam flat defender will match wheel routes from the backfield. And we're going to kind of go through that here when we go by 3-by-1. I didn't mention it in the last video, but I wanted to make sure I just let you know that. And it make more sense once we get to what we're about to talk about now. And then in review, anytime you get any type of snug set, a bunch set, the coverage is going to check to 3 sky automatically by itself. It's going to turn into spot drop zone cover 3. So that's just a quick review. So in Madden, what they have done over the years is they've had match coverage versus 3-by-1 in old Maddens. And then they kind of reduced it where the curl flat defender to the 3 receiver side would not match, or the seam flat defender, but yet the interior guys would still at least carry vertical routes up the field a little bit. All right, I remember playing Madden back, I think 18 or something, Madden 19, 3 buzz at that time would give you a little bit of that matching principle if you called it the right way. But now let's talk about the current day. All right, so make sure match is on. All right, make sure that's on. We're going to come out and just nickel. We're going to come out in 3 seam. Okay, match is on 3 seam. The best way to always test out how match works is to do what? You guys know this by now, is to actually come out and looks like I'm having a little controller battery issue here. We're going to come out in 3-by-1, right? Spread formation and run 4 verticals. All right, give me 1 second here while I just recharge this real quick. But what's going to happen is versus 3-by-1, we're going to notice that we're not going to get match principle at all to the 3 receiver side. All right, pretty much the entire defense turns into 3 sky. I mean, that's pretty much the way to start the video. So if you're watching the video and you didn't know that, you need to know that, because you can call 3 seam, think it's going to work versus all types of all formations, and you need to understand it really only works against particularly 2 receivers spread out. All right, give me 1 second here. Okay. All right, sorry for that delay. Okay, so let's get into 3-by-1 spread formation versus 4 verticals. All right, and how it starts is exactly like I had said, to the passing strength side. Okay, we're gonna get, from a defensive point of view, we're gonna get now our corner, our nickel, okay, our strong side inside linebacker, passing strength side, our safety here, which is our strong safety, and our corner over here. All these guys are going to be playing straight cover 3 sky rules. Okay, so you know the rules to that. Everybody knows it. Doesn't matter, right? Let me get off of this guy. So let me just go through this play and we just focus on those guys, and then I'll talk to you about the people that do match a little bit, right? But everybody knows, I threw that really late, that versus 3 sky, you can try to hit the seam route of 2. That opens up in that little tender area between the hash and the seams, okay? But you see how now our seam flat defender, he's not matching that guy, all right? He's just playing curl flat. Our hook curl defender, he's just doing his normal thing that he would do if it was 3 sky as well. So there's no matching going on there at all. The corner is playing deep third, okay? The safety here, he's playing middle third. Our backside corner, even though we have a solo technique back here, or we are, some teams will call this solo technique, a solo receiver. and then they will meg up the backside, but not in Madden. He's going to play zone turn and play deep third, okay? Now, let's take a look at the inside hook curl defender away from the passing strength. About half the time, maybe a little bit more than half the time, he will run and he will take care of crossing routes behind him, okay? He will kind of turn and run with that. I'm going to run it a few more times, but it's inconsistent, all right? I've done this video about 3 or 4 times already. I've had to change it a bunch of times because there'll be times I'll be sitting here in this mode and he will turn and run with any deep crosser. He will match it, and there are times that he won't. It doesn't make any sense, and it's the same formation and it's the same guy. So just in general, just understand that right now he's not really turning and running. He actually started playing zone and then turned late. All right, but that's what happens there. Let's take a look at it one more time. Let's focus on that inside linebacker weak. 3 is going to run that deep over route. You let it go, okay? I'm going to keep on running it, and you're going to see how it's going to change. It's an inconsistent old legacy rule that used to have, like I had said earlier in the video, sometimes the inside hook defenders would match deep over routes. In the game, you can get different results from that player, all right? You know, I wish I can go back and show you some of the old videos, or just from a couple days ago when I made this video. This dude was turning and running the whole time. Now, the weak side seam flat defender, he does something that's very different, okay? He's actually going to run out to the curl, all right, no matter what. So 3-by-1, his number 2 is in the backfield. He's not reading number 2 when he starts. He's just going to run out to the curl, back to the quarterback, stop a little bit outside the numbers, and then react to whatever he sees. If the ball goes to the flat, he'll react to the flat or whatever, okay? So that's his base rule. When number 2 does anything normal, like a check down, a check to the flat, anything like that. But an old legacy rule is in the game, I don't know why, that if he runs a seam route or wheel route, that player will turn, the seam flat defender will match him late. So let me show it to you. All right, let me get off of this guy. So I'm going to start here with pretty much, if you put the running back on a streak, it turns into like a seam route, right? Outside the tackle. So watch that flat defender. He goes to the flat, and then he turns and runs with him late down the field. Kind of hard to see there with the sack, but we'll do it again. And it's not really good technique because he's really kind of giving that guy way too much space. You can still throw the ball, obviously, on a quick little seam route, but you see how he turns and runs with that guy? So that's something where he's matching number 2 if he goes vertical out of the backfield. Let's go with a wheel concept, right? This could be a little bit easier for him to cover it because he's closer to him, but you see how he turns and runs with that guy? So there are a couple of match principles that are kind of stuck in the game or still programmed into the game, and I guarantee you that weak side hook defender, he will match any type of over route from number 2 or number 3 that gets into the window about half the time. And I'm going to show it to you in a different formation so you believe me. But just to review, just to make sure you understand that when you call 3 seam against a spread 3-by-1 set, all right, it will not play match rules for the most part. You're pretty much playing cover 3 sky. You need to understand that. Compared to if you go up against a 2-by-2 set, you're going to get those matches that we all expect, okay? Now let me jump into empty, all right? Because empty is kind of a hybrid offense, right? It's one side most of the time is playing just spread 3 receivers, and the other side is a spread 2 receiver set, right? So if I jump into something like this, and I come out again, and I play 3 seam, all right, so on the left side of the screen, you have 2 receivers that are aligned in a spread normal spacing fashion, right? So the 2 players on the left side of the screen, the corner and the free safety who's down, who's playing the seam flat, they're going to play match rules. Now, for a fact, this seam flat defender, he's treating it just almost like it's 2-by-2. He's going to play all the rules that we talked about in the first video, okay? However, the corner is in that same messed up predicament that I was talking to you about when it came to the inside hook defender. The corner sometimes plays match, okay, or mod technique, I'm sorry. So mod technique, if you remember from the first video, means anytime number 1 goes over 10 yards, he's going to match him. All right. In this case, he does it sometimes, and there are some plays he does not. I don't understand why, but I will say for the most part, he's just going to play most of the time. From what I've seen, about 75% of the time, he plays just pure drop, spot drop, cover 3, deep zone on the outside, all right? Outside thirds. But this player here, he will play his match principle right from the beginning, okay? Now, on the right-hand side of the screen, we have basically 3 sky, okay? With our corner, our nickel, our strong side, inside, hook curl player, our middle of the field, deep third player, right? And the weak side player, because he's still aligned to away from the passing strength, he will sometimes match a deep over route from number 3, or sometimes he will do nothing and just play his regular hook curl. Doesn't, not quite sure. Now, if you're like me and you actually do play some cover 3, because I do like playing cover 3 against this formation every now and then, you know, I'm using the strong side hook defender. Why? Because I want to take away any quick route of 3, and I want to make sure I can get in that window for 2 running vertical after he gets bumped by the nickel player. Okay, after he gets bumped by the strong side seam flat, a lot of people like to throw that little quick pass right there in that window about 10 to 15 yards. So this is who I use her. So just understand that this guy, hopefully he's consistent with his work. All right, this guy is always pretty consistent with his work, but this guy is a little bit of a wild card, okay? That's the downside of playing this defense. That's Madden for you. It is what it is. Now, let me jump back on the offenses to show you at least the match principles on the left-hand side. All right, I'm going to run verticals here, right? And then on the left-hand side, I'm actually going to put the running back out here on a deep out. So if it is match, if it is match, he should get, the corner should take this route because it's a 10-yard, it's a route that goes over 10 yards, all right? So let's see what happens. But again, it's not consistent like I had told you. All right, so we get the match with the weak side seam flat defender, the free safety, but you don't get it with the corner. Okay, we'll look at the replay here. The corner does not match. He plays deep third over here. But this player right here, this free safety, he's going to match verticals of 2. Let's double check it again. Let's run that dig route. I want to make sure it's deep enough. He should respect that. I'm going to run a curl on the outside. Looking at the left side of the screen here, right, you get the match with the free safety. He matches that dig route because it's over 10 yards. Right side of the screen is playing zone, okay? So this is important to know because if somebody comes out in this formation, you have to know that you are getting some sort of match against this. If somebody came out in 3-by-1 and motioned the running back out to that spot and ran a route with him, you can trust that at least your free safety there would cover him if he goes past 10 yards. He would match him, all right? The last example here will be what happens when you get bunch formation. So this is very similar to the 2-by-2 step, the 2-by-2 part of the video when I talked about when you got compression sets, you got snug sets, right? What happens? All right, so let me go to the most popular play I think is going to be just verticals again. I'm going to make sure I'm coming out in 3 seam. And let's run this a few times. Let's see if we get that match from the inside hook defender weak, like I had told you about. And you see it there. I'll show you the replay if you missed it. Like I had told you, the inside hook player will match over routes, all right, versus anybody coming from the inside, anybody really coming from the bunch over here, but usually it's number 2 or number 3, and out of the bunch usually is number 2, right? He runs the over route. But watch this player, how he turns and he matches that. Now, he doesn't do a great job. The mismatch is there. If you're playing in a league where you can put safeties down at linebacker, you're going to get a better matchup. But in this case, you just know that he's there. Everybody else is playing zone, okay? Unless number 2 in the backfield runs what? A wheel or runs a seam, right? Let's just take a look at this. I'm going to put the running back on a seam route. All right, and we should get double matches here with both the weak side seam flat defender and the hook curl defender are matching those guys against that route concept, okay? Now, you guys know this. I mean, just in general, I'm not really probably telling you anything new. Everybody loves against cover 3 because this side over here is playing pretty much what? Sky. They love throwing. This route is open if you quick throw it, right? Really because this guy's caught in no man's land. Usually I like to, if I know I'm getting this, I put my guys in hard flats out here. so that I can take away at least that outside throw, and then I will user this guy, right, and try to sit in this window. Don't let this thing open up on that little seam route right there. That's the best way to cover that route out of cover 3 sky, which is what you're forced to play even though you're calling cover 3 seam. All right, so that's it, man. I think that's a good, just little quick rundown. I know a lot of people know this already, but there might be some guys who are really love cover 3 seam, but you need to understand that really it's only really a good defense versus 2x2 spread and versus maybe 2 backs in the backfield where you want to get that match principle to the 2 receiver side. Okay, so just want to end it there. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know, and we'll jump into a next coverage. We're putting more videos out throughout the next couple weeks. Football NFL season's over, so we got some more time to do some other things and not watch NFL football all day. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace.